Hello everybody, welcome back to my learning session. Today we are going to continue with Cloud Platform Integration CPI. In that we are going to see a topic called variables. Okay, the variables by definition you should be knowing that in a computer language we will be storing some value in the variables. Generally it will be used as a temporary purpose, but in CPA we are going to have some kind of persistent variables that will be stored inside the managed stores, which we will see this what is the managed stores and what are all the parts inside it in later videos. So today we are going to see variables used by CPI, how in the iFlow are going to use that. Okay, what is a variable in cloud platform integration? The variables are in fact the variable serves as a dynamic placeholders. Okay, dynamic placeholders that stores and manipulate the data throughout the integration process. Simply you can assume an iFlow create and stores it intermediate data in a placeholder, and the same data will be used later by the same iFlow or some other iFlow to further process it. A simple example I can say last order processed. Assume that one iFlow process an order number and store the data. So next time when the iFlow start again, it has to pick up what was my last order processed. So it has to store this value somewhere in intermediate in the iFlow in the CPI tenant itself. That is what this managed stores and variables is going to take up. Let us see the picture here. There are two types of variables. We have global and local variables. By name itself you will be knowing that what is local and what is global. So this is what it says. An iFlow A creates a global variable, say called last order processed. iFlow B creates a global variable called a token number, token key. iFlow C create some intermediate status as a local. Okay, that's all. Next time when another integration process started, say another iFlow X, which will pick up the value from these global variables. So iFlow X will be accessible to all these global variables, even if it is created by A or B or C, whatever it may be, because it is marked as a global. Other iFlow can access it. But see this case, iFlow C, it create intermediate status as a local. So the iFlow X cannot access this local variable, but iFlow C itself can access it because it is specific to iFlow only. So this is how in the integration process in the CPI we are going to see how a variable will be created, how the variable will be accessed, and at the same time how we can manage this variable inside the monitor sections. Okay, we will see further in the exercise. We'll see then further exercise now. Now we are inside the iFlow. We will see how we can create we can write a variable inside the variable data store, and the same how we can read it back. Okay, before going to that, let us see where these variables are stored and how we can manage it. Further you have to go to monitor. In the monitoring side we will have the manage store section. There we will see a tile called variables. inside that it will show you what are all the variables so far created in the your tenant. Okay, just I will review it. There are 5 variables created. Okay, so FGV, FLV, global level, last run and local run. Okay, this is the variable I am going to use it now. Going to create and read back. So to start with, I just delete it now. Okay, I will delete it. So there is no last run variable is there. So there are 4 variables available in our system. Okay, let me go back. So you will have 4 variables inside it. Okay, now we will create a variable and read it back. So for that I am going here, I am going to design. So I am going to trial 2 package. Go to artifacts. Okay, for the demo purpose I already created one iFlow so that my video time will be reduced. Okay, let me go to this demo v iFlow. I already created one iFlow, demo v. Let me open it. Okay, what I am trying to do is, let me reduce this. So I hope you can visible it, right? Okay, very important point for the writing and reading a variables, you cannot test it via the simulation. To write a variable or to read a variable from the variable container, the iFlow has to be deployed and execute end to end. Only then it can read and write the variables inside the variable container. Okay, so it is a full-fledged iFlow. So what I did is, to start with, I have a content modifier first. In the content modifier, what I am doing is, I started with before that I will say that content modifier actual write variables and again content modifier to display my output. Okay, in the first content modifier I created one exchange properties called new run and last run. Okay, let me edit it and show you again. So there are 2 property variables I created, one called new run, one called last run. Okay, in the new run it is a direct expression and I gave the dollar variables which is the camel expression, and its output type is java.lang.string. This is you know things. This is how we will create the property variables. Okay, now this is the point we have to see now. Another variable I created called last run, which is going to read from my variable container. Okay, so if you see that you have a lot of options, one called a local variable and called global variable. So what type of variable you are going to access is, you can select it here. So I right now I selected a local variable. So that means the local variable means you can access the local variable of the variable which is created by this iFlow only. You cannot read a local variable of variables created by another iFlow. So I am going to read a local variable, and what was the local variable name inside the container? Just now I deleted, right? The same thing. So last run. Okay, so this Just for understanding purpose, I put the same name. You can have a different name here in the exchange property name. So exchange property name is last run. I am going to read a local variable from the label variable container. The variable name was last run. Okay, that's all. Very simple, just to read a variable from the variable container. Now the point is, what if this variable is not available in the variable container? In our case, it is not there. So in that case, you can have an exception. In this case, you can have an exception value here. See, variables is not defined, please enter the default value. So whenever variable is not there, then it will return me not available. Okay, I will say none. You got a point now? So this is how we are going to read a variable from the variable container. So I created expression property last run, reading a local variable of last run from the container. If not available, then put a default value like not available. Okay, save it. That's it. This is how the read operation can be done. Okay, now it is write. Now I am going to a write variable. Write variable, you can pick it from this place. If you say write here, right here, it will, you can draw. So write will come under the data store persistence section. Persistence section, we saw a lot of options, right? In that, one of them are data store, other one is a variables. So I am going to use the write variable here. This one I am going to use it. Okay, this is what I created here. So I will select the write variable section. In the write variable section, the general you can name it. In the processing section, you can write at what name you are going to save. So I use the same name called last run. And what is the value you are going to write? That one you are reading from the property, that property variable you created in this section, right? That property variable I am going to write. That property variable was a new run. So current timestamp I am going to store it. And I did not check the global scope, so it became a local variable. That's it. Very simple now. So read and write is done. Now in the content modifier section, I am going to display back. I did not do anything header, I did not do anything property. I just read it. A global variable, I read the global variable in the property now. Then I am going to message body. Okay, this is not required, just ignore it. For testing purpose I created it in our C. So I want to display the output like this. My last run was, which was reading from the property last run. Okay, which I defined here in the first content modifier, right? You see the first content modifier in the exchange property, I read it last run local variable, right? That I am going to display it back here in the message body. My last run was, if it is not available, then the default value will be displayed. My new run was the another property which we have set it. Then I read another variable there also, just for explaining purpose. I read another global variable which is in a property 1. That's what I did it here, right? In this exchange property, I read one variable, I read another global variable, and see that. Okay, message body, then I will save it. So you got the point now. So reading will be happening here, writing will be happening here, and just for display back, I'm putting back here. So I saved it. I will deploy it now. I will deploy it. Let me see the status. Deployment study starting. Once it is deployed, we will execute it in a Postman and see that. Sometimes the deployment takes time. Let us wait for it. So while starting, let us recap. The first content modifier is reading a variable and store it in the property variable. And second section, actual write variable palette, that will write a new timestamp in the variable which we are trying to access. Here we are trying to access a variable called a last run, and write variable will write a new timestamp in the variable called last run. And the third content modifier, we are reading back and display it back. Okay, so read, write and read again. So will happening here. I don't know why it is still taking time. Take too much time. Okay, now it is started. So my URL will be ending with demo v. So I will go to Postman. I will demo v1. Okay, my connection will be like that. I think demo v1 connection is demo v1. So I will go to Postman and execute the demo v1. Okay, so what I will do is I will put back I will delete it. Why it is not deleting it? Okay, anyway, I will run it again. See, now the output is my last run was not available because the variable was not there now. Okay, so it becomes NA. My new run is this one, and that I just read the another global variable 5. Okay, now let us go to the monitoring section. I will go here, the variables. So now it becomes 5. Okay, let me go inside. The last run is created now. It is created by demo v. Since it was a local variable, the visibility is only to this integration flow only. So you can see the value here. Value is 447 UTC. Okay, so we saw another global variable read here, which is a global. so that the demo v1 can access this global variable. The value was 5. Okay, that's what we saw it here, right? The value is 5. Okay, now what we'll do is we will re-execute the same thing, so that this 4.47 should come as a last run and new things will come here. Okay, let me try again. Send again. See, the last run was 4.47 and new run was 4.49. Let me go back to my variable here. Let me refresh it. Variable 5. So the last run is showing the new number. 4.49 has come now. Now you got it, right? So how we knew that, how we can read and write. So we saw so far just read and write within this iflow only, which is reading a local variable, and we try to access one more global variable in this container. Okay, now we will see as per this picture. So I am going to create another iflow, then I will try to access the local variable, this portion. Okay, so it should not allow me to access it, so that we will see it here now. So I will go back to trial 2. I created another called v2. Another v2. Okay, just I'm going to read it here. Okay, I go to the content modifier in the exchange property. I try to create FLV FGV global variable, right? FLV FGV global variable. FLV was a local variable. If you go back to here, and FLV was local variable by demo v, not the demo v2. We are in demo v2, right? So we are trying to access the FLV, the local variable of demo v in demo v2, which I am trying to put it in a variable called v3. So I should not get the value, I should get the value cannot access. Other things are global variable. So v2, v1 are FGV and global variable. This FGV and global variable. So this should give me the value of FG1 and this should give me the value of 5. Okay. So that's all. So this is already created and deployed. Now I will go back to, so this is demo v2. I will go to section and I will execute the v2 now. I read the global variable created by demo v. Okay, try to read the local variable FLV. I am getting a default value cannot access. Okay, this is what I have written. Don't get confused. This is what I have written it here in the message body. So the local variable which I was trying to access f3, that is v3. The v3 is a local variable, so I cannot access it. So I am getting the value of cannot access. So other things are accessible, so I am reading the other variable. So you got this point, right? So whenever you create it as a global, then across your tenant, any package from any iflow inside your tenant, can access this global variable. But if you define it as a local variable, then you can access by the same iflow you created that local variable. Okay, that's it. So this is how the variables in the data store of a CPI can be managed. So finally we review it. The variables, under the monitor section you can see that variables, you can see the value here, you can download it also, and by default it gives some date, maybe 1 year. I don't know how this default is getting calculated, but as of now it gives you the till this day the variable will be available to you. Let me find out how to manage this expiry date. Okay, same way you can delete it also from here, delete this variable. That's all. This is how a data store, a persistent data store inside the CPI, in which we saw the variables. We can see that the data store, number ranges, message queues in upcoming videos. Okay, hope this session is helpful to you. Please do comment, and please please put your review comments if I can do any improvement in this. Okay, thank you so much.